So good evening, everyone, and I welcome you all in IUCN CEM dialogue. And we are really happy that we got this platform to share our experiences and our journey of harnessing nature for last almost 3 to 4 years now. We have with us our focal point and Vice Chair IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management, Dr. Madhav Karki with us. And I'm sure many more will join as the time progresses. And we have some 5 to 6 important panelists with us who are regular contributors to harnessing nature. I'll introduce them as we progress with this IUCN CEM dialogue. I'll share my screen and start the presentation. I hope I am audible to all of you and my slides are visible as well.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Yeah. So once again, I welcome you all in this dialogue, and this dialogue is a very rich opportunity to regional members of South Asia to present their knowledge product that we have developed with the voluntary contributions of South Asia members in last union program of 2016, 17 to 20. And this has been a very good platform, not only for the members, but a lot of beyond member platforms have also appreciated this effort. I am Dr. Shalini Dhyani, and I am the previous South Asia Regional Chair and also nominated as a present South Asia Regional Chair for next union period for next 4 years. I am also Senior Scientist with Council for Scientific Industrial Research with National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, Nagpur in India. And the presentation and the dialogue that I'm going to present with all of you today is about how this idea of harnessing nature actually evolved. What was the development and what was the journey that we have taken in last all these few years. I'll talk also about harnessing nature. What are the main mandates? What is the logo all about? What are the key ideas that we are interested to share more on our platform? And overall objectives. My colleagues, Dr. Madhav Karki and Dr. Deepu will also share about publication policy for harnessing nature, the editorial members, and how is our strategy for publication, our communication plan as per Union and Commission on Ecosystem Management's communication strategy. We will also be presenting and showcasing some of the interesting volumes that we have presented in last few years, important bulletins, and our social media outreach that has happened because of this important knowledge product, the flagship program of harnessing nature. We'll also be talking about knowledge dissemination, management, feedback, and how harnessing nature has impacted our overall regional activities with reference to IUCN CEM mandate and vision. And in the last, we have invited few of our very important panelists who are regular contributors to harnessing nature platform. So what have been their interest and strategic approach for awareness generation? So this is the basic agenda that will be and the content that I'm going to present today. Before I go into detail about harnessing nature and presenting what harnessing nature is, a little bit about for all those who are from non-IUCN backgrounds and or the members who have recently joined, IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management is one of the very important commissions of IUCN. And we are the South Asia Regional Group members. And the important ecosystems that are in this particular region are Himalayas and Hindu Kush, then coastal and island ecosystem, coastal and marine ecosystems, Deccan Plateau, Indo-Gangetic Plains, and so many other ecosystems that are part of South Asia. We are not only we are a group of scientific group of almost 300 plus members that are part of South Asia region. And We had a very strong core group for last 4 years, and we are now going to start up a new core group for the next 4 years with equal participation from 5 important countries, that's Sri Lanka, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, and Bangladesh. And our mission has been more in last 4 years, and that will be progressing more in next 4 years about influencing and improving the knowledge base on complex issues related to ecosystem conservation and healthy ecosystems. We are also working on generating knowledge for understanding the scenario and influencing environmental policy in the region. We and our members are strengthening this approach by sharing the documents, success stories, working on experiences and practices that are related to climate change adaptation and nature-based solutions in the region. Our special interest also lies in initiating some important work on red listing of ecosystems by understanding the values of biodiversity, ecosystems, and emerging drivers of biodiversity loss. If I share a little bit more, the IUCN program of previous 2017 and 20 considered South Asia as one of the regions among eight statutory regions of IUCN that requires greatest conservation needs. And this is relevant even in present union program of 2021-24. One of the important achievements of last 4 years have been, we had about 92 members in our previous union program, and it started in 2017. And in 2021, before World Conservation Congress, we have a huge number of members now. 351 members are right now commission members. And this shows the strength right now that South Asia region has in the memberships. Now, moving to the important discussion that we are going to have and sharing the information about harnessing nature. That is a weblog and magazine by the members of IUCN Commission of Ecosystem Management, South Asia Regional Network. So we started initially as a weblog, and in last 3 years, we progressed also developing and having our magazine at least 3 issues every year. So it has emerged as an important platform for CEM members across South Asia to not only exchange knowledge and generate awareness, but also come together to share our experiences and discuss important policy issues, important strategic problems that are related to ecosystem conservation, ecosystem-based approaches for climate adaptation, disaster risk reduction. As I mentioned, the area is one of the sensitive regions that is threatened because of a variety of disasters. Restoration, governance issues, agriculture specialist group. We have a very good contribution on indigenous crops and cropping practices that are more climate adaptive in nature, forest specialist group, and especially forest landscape restoration program, and many more other relevant programs, including urban ecosystems, etc., that we are featuring and regularly including in our Harnessing Nature magazine. Now, if I share a bit about the journey, I should take you all back to 2018, when there was a very important seminar that many of our CEM members attended in Divecha Center for Climate Change at Indian Institute of Sciences, Bengaluru. And we invited a lot of members from southern part of the country of India. And this was a major turning point where, with the collaborative discussions and brainstorming, we thought that being member is okay, and it's a good thing where many of us can contribute directly, but many are not able to directly contribute and learn more about the IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management agenda and vision. So that was one of the genesis points from where we decided that we should have some presence and visibility by having a weblog. And that is when we started our weblog. So based on our initial discussions, and thankfully we had some good leading think tanks, universities, and international organizations in our discussions. And we decided that we should use an online platform for publishing news and sharing knowledge from whatever activities members are involved, because we have many members in many international committees and important discussions also. So Harnessing Nature weblog was the first thing that if was the effective way of reaching out to CEM members. And it was launched on World Environment Day, that was on 5th June 2018. And in a very small span of time, it actually gained a lot of popularity among readers and writers, not only in Commission on Ecosystem Management, but also beyond our network of IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management. And this also led to a lot of interest among people to apply for membership of CEM. And that is one of the reasons why we have a lot of expert members part of this regional network. So this was our first blog that we wrote on, and it was more about a thought-provoking discussion on why environmental days have started to matter more to humanity. Reasons are obvious, and we are knowing the kind of situation right now we are living in. So this thought-provoking discussion and article actually invited a lot of more articles that were more focusing on that particular year on nature-based adaptation, disaster risk reduction, ecosystem-based management, restoration, as well as green and natural infrastructure. Now, if I share about what were the key brief areas and key brief important aspects of harnessing nature, I should mention that it is an important knowledge product right now that we are having. It started as a multi-author blog initially, but it later on took up a good shape of a magazine, because we are working on diverse themes and we have good contribution of diverse themes of article as per the mandate of IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management. It's also a good platform to showcase the success, the publications, the announcement of members. And it is also a good thematic, good platform across thematic groups to exchange knowledge with each other. So under the broader umbrella of IUCN CEM mission, the blog especially looks forward to articles that are based on different areas of CEM, and it has a special emphasis on CEM intersessional mandates as per 4 years of union program. So whatever we are presenting today is based on our last 4 years of union program mandate. Now, initially the entries, and right now the entries are for articles or any other thing that goes on our web blog, is facilitated by our managing editors. I'll detail more about this in our forthcoming slide, and a very strong expert editorial team. The web blog and articles are published in magazine and are endorsed and popularized through our social network that are Twitter, Facebook, and we also have a very good YouTube handle where we have a lot of hits by other than IUCN members. So in last 3 years, harnessing nature became a kind of a brand for us, and it also became a one-stop destination where a lot of members were coming and getting themselves updated about South Asia's activities. And it also became a place where others can come to see see how relevant publications on recent topics are coming, important opinion pieces on some of the important strategic policy discussions happening globally, important conferences, events, and also public announcements were taking place on these particular platform. You can see some of the important titles of some of the important articles that received a good number of acceptance from the readers that were coming virtually. So the homepage of Harnessing Nature features flash updates from members of the commission. And later on in 2020, the idea of digital magazine was conceived. And right now we are in the 3rd year of publishing this magazine. This also covers contribution from South Asia members. Everything of this magazine is taken care voluntarily only by the members of the region. But the mandate and the subjects that are covered in the magazines have global, regional, as well as national scope with reference to the intersessional agenda and mandate. So we have a very strict way how we go through our publication process. We have a strict double-blind peer review process. We have expert editorial board that including experts from different areas and subjects, making it a very strong multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary team. Now, you all might be interested to know about this interesting logo that we have right now, H with some red and black color. So the logo of Harnessing Nature was prepared after a lot of discussions and thinking. And this logo symbolizes the juxtaposition of human ingenuity over nature in the era of Anthropocene. And that is one of the key challenges right now we are facing. While the shade of red in the logo are signifying extreme vitality and energy of the South Asia biocultural diversity, black is the reflection of the mysterious unknown of Mother Nature that is always there. And with this humility of wisest being, we have led to the possession of greater knowledge through this particular knowledge product. Now, with reference to the publication policy, as I mentioned, we are committed to maintaining the highest ethical standards. Many of the experts in the team are not only experts, but also young professionals. But it is a good area to actually explore that we maintain highest ethical standards that are followed in peer-reviewed high impact journals. So in order to ensure the outcome of providing our readers with a magazine of high quality, we are following a double-blind peer review process. And we ensure that articles are original. And if there is something that is being taken or adapted from somewhere, it is appropriately accredited, and the details of this courtesy is also given. We regularly use a plagiarism detection software to ensure there is no plagiarism and reduced similarity index for our articles. Our editorial board is, again, as I mentioned, are mostly senior international specialists, but at the same time, we have a good place for young professionals as well. And these professionals are from 5 countries of the region, and it has a great diversity, geographical diversity, as well as we have tried to ensure gender diversity also and gender balance in our editorial board. We have just completed our 4 years, and we look forward to updating and strengthening our editorial board. So very soon we will be having a call for inviting expert editors to our editorial group. And we are especially looking for members from Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lanka, because this is something, India itself is a very big country, so we have a greater participation from the country, but we are especially interested to have more members from the neighboring countries to have a good geographical balance. So Dr. Madhav Karki is principal editor of Harnessing Nature magazine and weblog. I myself am the co-principal editor. Our vice chair, Dr. Himanti Ranasinghe from Sri Lanka, is the managing editor of the weblog and the journal, while Dr. Dipu Sivadas is the second managing editor, who is also a young professional lead for IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management, while our other young professional, Ms. Indradev Bhatt, is also managing editor, who is helping us with regular activities to run it more smoothly. Now, this is a very long list of the subject editors that we have. So you can see we have highlighted members from Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Nepal, and we look forward to more members from Maldives. We have very less members from Maldives, and we have members from Sri Lanka, but we want more discussions and contributions from other countries as well. Now, moving forward, if I say as one of my concluding slides after giving a brief about Harnessing Nature magazine, I think we are a little ambitious about this magazine, because in the last 3 years, we have seen that we can actually develop some good work and knowledge product by voluntary activities of our expert members. And our idea is to develop this magazine as a regular publication with 3 issues per year. We are having some small seed funding that we have been promised, but we are looking for some good funding source in coming months also, so that we can develop a limited print version of this magazine. We have been trying for ISSN and ISBN number for our magazine. Unfortunately, because of pandemic, it got delayed, but this will be the important task in coming year. And developing a centralized submission management portal is again an important area that we would like to work with our team of members. So with this, I conclude, and I invite Dr. Madhav Karki, who is principal editor of Harnessing Nature magazine and vice chair in Asia focal point for IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management. and Executive Director, CGED, Nepal. So he'll be talking about CEM's new communication and knowledge production guidelines. I welcome you, sir, and the floor is all yours.
So thank you, Dr. Salini. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to participate in this dialogue, and I'm very happy that many of you are able to join. So I will be, what you have heard from Dr. Salini is basically how harnessing nature has evolved. What was a small idea, which a small group of us were discussing, has taken shape of a very, I would say, important knowledge product for CEM globally, but in particular for our members in South Asia. So if I can have the next slide, please. So recently, IUCN CEM has brought out a new communication guide, and we are required to align ourselves to the new guide, and that has values and then strategic elements. And of course, we need to, as Dr. Salini was pointing out, we have to make this knowledge product more and more relevant to policymakers, to practitioners. So my intervention here basically is based on the values which CEM has. I feel that harnessing nature already is well aligned to the CEM's values, but I think we can be more specific so that our readers in South Asia can relate themselves to the Harnessing Nature magazine and to its content. So first value is we are a commission on ecosystem management. Therefore, our value is that we believe in ecosystem-based approaches, we believe in its principles, and we promote it. So the second value, of course, is we promote ecosystem-based approaches based on best science and diverse knowledge system. Dr. Salini mentioned about how we also take into account indigenous and local knowledge, and that makes indigenous knowledge, local knowledge, traditional knowledge, traditional ecological knowledge. All these knowledge systems have some, I would say, relations with the culture, which South Asia has in very plenty. So this harnessing nature has to promote the science as well as diverse or inclusive knowledge system, as to promote a scholarship and greater understanding of ecosystem management in South Asia, as well as Himalayan countries and Himalayan landscape, South Asian landscape, which is also very diverse. We have mountain ecosystem, we have desert ecosystem, we have coastal, we have, of course, very dry tundra ecosystem in trans-Himalayan zones. So we have this diversity which we need to promote. And then, of course, HN is a knowledge product, and that is based on science. But then it has to also be based on and inform our audience what are the best practices based on citizen science, indigenous science, so that whatever knowledge we promote, that guides good policy and also creates evidence base. Next slide, please. And this evidence base is very important for policymakers. As all of you know, seeing is believing. And for policymakers, that is more important. So they would like to see, if we talk about ecosystem-based approaches, if we talk about nature-based solutions, they would like to see how it is done. And they would like to see the outcome. what has been changed? What has been the difference our ecosystem-based approaches have made? To really do that, we have to work based on a mission. We have to contribute to the vision. We have to achieve our goals and objectives. And this 4 elements, strategic elements, I call it, of harnessing nature has to be also guided by CEM's communication guidelines. So based on the CEM's communication guide, I thought we should create more specific and more applicable to the harnessing nature mission, which means we co-create, means we work with the indigenous and local communities, we work with scientists, we also work with policymakers, and we gather their knowledge, and based on their knowledge, our knowledge, we assimilate the collective understanding of ecosystem-based approaches, and then we co-produce our articles, and we share these science-based articles with our readers. As NBS has become one of the flagship tools of CEM, we need to use it, we need to promote it to achieve sustainable, resilient management of our ecosystem and both natural and modified ecosystems. So this mission, basically keyword is co-creation and co-production. We don't alone feel or claim that we understand the whole science. We have to understand the science from perspective of the different stakeholders, and this is what our mission is. And I hope that future HN articles will reflect that, that we not only report our research, but we also try to make our research, try to align our research to solve the contemporary societal and environment challenges. And the vision, of course, we have a CEM vision, and we need to contribute to that broader vision. But for South Asia region, and particularly for HN, a healthy, productive, and resilient ecosystem in the region for promoting, for contributing to human prosperity, well-being, and sustainable development is what we intend that our readers will apply HN disseminated knowledge and contribute to this vision. And the goals are specific, and we need to achieve this. When we say ecosystem-based approaches, you can see that we have suite of approaches. We have ecosystem-based approaches, adaptation. We have ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction. We have environment protection, protecting infrastructure and communities, or ecosystem protecting infrastructure and community, which means that ecosystem, if well managed, it can protect both the infrastructure and communities, and ecosystem-based mitigation. Ecosystem-based approaches, of course, are a very large number of approaches, and nature-based solutions is the latest, I would say, approaches, which itself is very is of umbrella nature, under which we have EBA, ECO-DRR, EBM. So our goal is that we promote ecosystem-based approaches, we promote nature-based solutions for the sustainable management of socio-ecological system in South Asia. And we also use, when we say ecosystem, people are in ecosystem, so we also promote community-based ecosystem management or community-based natural resource management. So the goals are a bit broader, but the last, I think, which is very important element of the I would say HN's HN is to promote the uptake. I think it's not just supply-driven knowledge that we publish a blog, we publish harnessing nature, and we forget about it. I think the authors are responsible to see how many people have actually read their article. Of course, these days it is easy to track it by tracking the number of hits the website or HN blog will have it. And then once the uptake means, if some elements, we need to trace the footprint. If some elements of what we said in HN is picked up by papers, newspapers, or in the speeches of policymakers, or in the speeches of professors and students, or general private sector leaders and NGO practitioners, then our job is done. That we are successful to really communicate our message to the stakeholders, and this is what we need to do. And that objective is what I think we as an editorial board, as well as our authors, have to keep in mind that we are doing this through a mission to contribute to a vision, ultimately to achieve some goal, but in the short run, we would like to meet these objectives. Next, please. So getting this success, getting all what I said, achieving this is not easy. So the success factor in knowledge management, in really making our knowledge products really having good uptake and applied in solving people's problem, depends on many factors. In our case, in Harnessing Nature's case, my submission is that CEM members' science-based expertise and active participation is crucial. We need to, we have to diversify the authors. We have to diversify our contribution. We have to diversify our topics so that while being science-based, we are providing diverse expertise, diverse knowledge. And continuous support of CEM South Asia partners and country focal points, as Dr. Salini was mentioning, we would like to see more and more authors from other South Asian countries other than India. From India, we have excellent participation, but we would like to see same from Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives. So this, I hope, and Sri Lanka, I hope this will happen. And I call on all the leaders, country leaders, to contribute and help to diversify. Of course, if we contribute using our voluntary time and this voluntarism that we can afford, the time we spent in managing this is greatly appreciated. And as long as this continue, and I hope it will continue forever, we have many young authors, the HN will continue. So we have a long-term goal that, in fact, Dr. Salini and I may not be in the leadership, but other young colleagues will take it over and take it forward. So IUCN and CEM's institutional support, of course, we have excellent support from our chair, Dr. Angela. We have excellent support from the secretariat, Mariana. She has really been very, very, I would say, important supporter of Harnessing Nature. Thank you, Mariana. And Harnessing Nature, the success of Harnessing Nature will also depend how we can disseminate knowledge and information that are relevant, useful to the readers and to the users. So if we are more relevant, if we produce more relevant information, I'm sure HN will see many years of its publication. HN has to be accessible, as now It should be just one click away from our readers. It has to be relevant and adaptable. That some of the information might be of regional nature, but they should be downscalable and usable at local level, and content should be focused more on quality rather than quantity. So I hope we will produce more quality knowledge products in future. With that, I would like to say that congratulations to the team which is making HN, especially Dr. Deepu and Andrila and of course Rajiv and other colleagues. So with that, I would like to thank you and hand it over to Dr. Shalini and Deepu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madhav Karki. It was indeed a pleasure to hear your important insights about the magazine and sharing some of the communication strategies of CEM that is very relevant for all the members who have joined from different places to this IUCN dialogue to understand. And I'm sure this will facilitate more submissions for our weblog and our upcoming magazine issues. With this, I move to the next speaker of this dialogue today. We have Dr. Deepu Sivdas, who has been a very active managing editor and a great support to actually shape up this magazine and weblog the way it looks right now. And it's very impressive, I must say. So I welcome Dr. Deepu Sivdas, who is also Young Professional Lead for IUCN Commission on Ecosystem Management. He's postdoctoral fellow with Jawaharlal Nehru Tropical Botanical Garden and Research Institute in India. And I look forward to hear his perspectives, and also I'm sure the participants will get some great insights about how good harnessing nature has been performing in last few years. Thank you so much, and over to you, Deepu.
Thanks, Dr. Shalini. Could you please share the next slide?
Yeah,
Okay,
can you mute myself so that there is no issue?
Okay. So, as said previously, the Harnessing Nature blog was officially launched on the World Environment Day of 2018. To give a short insight into the how the blog is currently accessed by people across the globe, we had created this blog on the WordPress platform, and till date we have posted about 49 blog posts, including some videos which are mostly expert thoughts on some pertinent issues in relation to the ecosystems in South Asia. And as per our counts, we had about 3,197 people directly visiting our blog. And of course, there are more than these numbers accessing the blog post through the different social media handles of CEM South Asia region, such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And we are also having a good YouTube channel with several videos pertinent to the issues in South Asia region. Even though we are terrestrially grouped by only 6 countries in the South Asia region, we have reads from over 100 countries with about 1,444 active followers who are following the updates regularly. Next slide, please. So moving on to the Harnessing Nature magazine, the first issue was published in 2018 December with 10 articles discussing on the aspects like indigenous people and nature-based solutions, ecosystem-based approach for mangrove conservation, water management and alternate energy, agroforestry for sustainable restoration of croplands, etc. And also, initially the magazine was conceived as a consolidation of the blog articles published during a year. This issue also contained a post which had already appeared in the blog. Next slide, please. In 2019, we had 3 issues of the magazine published. The issue 1 was published on January 2020 with 12 articles, with some key articles discussing on conflict resolution through livelihood improvement, human-wildlife conflicts, and the need for vernacular design for having resilient neighborhoods, resilient ecosystems, forest fires, mostly in the South Asian region, and a discussion on the UNCCD COP14 outcomes, which was held on September 2019. The issue 2, next slide. The issue 2 was released on March 2020, and this was a special issue on the International Forest Day. So the articles were mostly aligned to forestry, and which covered articles on forest landscape restoration, forest and sustainable development goals, mainstreaming mangrove conservation to production sectors, and principles of ecosystem restoration, and zoonotic diseases and the need for forest protection. And there were a total of 17 articles in this issue. Next slide. So we brought out the third issue on the June of 2020, which included 17 articles, mostly discussing on the invasive species and impacts and their impacts in forest and urban environments, and community efforts in conservation and management of caterpillar fungus, an economically important species in the Dorpathan hunting reserve in Nepal, and emerging issues of traditional ecological knowledge and biodiversity, and some policy recommendations for sustainable agriculture. This was an article published by the lead of the Agro-Ecosystem Specialist Group of CEM, Dr. Abhilash. And some other articles were on the human-animal coexistence in the period of COVID lockdown. Next slide. So the first issue of the third volume was published last month on the occasion of IUCN World Conservation Congress. And luckily we were able to release this magazine in the venue by our deputy chair, the then deputy chair, Dr. Madhav Karki, who is also the focal point of South Asia region. And this included 19 articles, and mainly discussing on the needs for landscape approach for conservation of threatened species and ecosystems, and natural-based solutions and circular economy, healthier ecosystems towards the ecosystems and societies post-COVID-19, and the need for changing the concept of ecosystem health for One Health into a reality. And the issue also had articles on wild edibles as a source for mainstreaming biodiversity for food and health. There were also articles on the need for tapping on the wide range of native oil seeds to reduce the stress of oil palm plantations in the forest in South Asia region. And there were also articles on blue economy for inclusive growth, and some personal experience working with traditional cultures, land restoration, species conservation, and healthy ecosystems. Next slide. So over the last 3 years, we were able to publish 5 issues of the magazine with contributions from 54 authors, which had resulted in 75 articles. The articles had reflected the views of the members in the South Asia region, and this has been well viewed by members across the CEM network, and this is also showcased in the IUCN website too. The magazine is available in the IUCN website also. So even though the number of articles which has been published during the last 3 years is 75, but the actual number of submissions were more than that, and those that were not included in any of the issues of the magazine due to some reasons after the review process were included in the blog if found interesting. So the people who are submitting the issues to the magazine will have an option to publish it in the blog if it is not accepted to the magazine. And we are thankful to the reviewers who had supported us in the review process, who had helped us in this blind review. And one thing is worth mentioning that this was a coordinated voluntary effort, as said previously, throughout the last 3 years. And thanks to all the members who had contributed and to the chair, Angela, and our focal point for constant encouragement. Over to you, Shalini.
Thank you so much, Dipu, for a very important insight to the statistics and details about the visibility and outreach of this important magazine. And also highlighting what are we expecting in our forthcoming issues and how well our reviewers are supporting us. I would like to now invite our panelists. Most of these panelists are the contributors who have contributed to the magazine and weblog many times and have been really good support also in reviewing the articles. So without much delay, I invite first of all, Dr. Rajiv Chaturvedi, who is assistant professor at BITS Pilani, Goa. He was co-lead for forest specialist group, and he's also IUCN CEM South Asia member. So, and the most important thing that I haven't mentioned is he's one of the very good experts on climate change issues from India and has contributed to larger networks of his work in South Asia and beyond. So welcome, Dr. Rajiv. Over to you now.
Thank you, Dr. Shalini, for giving me this opportunity to
Please
being
mute
part.
Dipu, if you can mute me.
Okay, I have muted you. I think I have been successful in muting you. So thank you very much, Dr. Shalini, for giving me this opportunity, first of all, to be part of this Harnessing Nature family, and also giving me this opportunity to speak on this platform. Thank you very much. And I'm also very thankful to Dr. Madhav Karki for all the support and that he has provided me so far in all the work that I have done for IUCN and CEM. So my association with the Harnessing Nature, that goes, I was listening to Dr. Shalini's presentation, and I was looking at those pictures. So my association goes back with the Harnessing Nature to that Bangalore meeting in 2018, even though I was not a member at that point of time, but I have been very actively involved, talking with the team, talking with Dr. Madhav Karki sir, talking with Shalini ji, talking with other members. So I have been reading this Harnessing Nature a lot. I have been doing review work, even though I have not been able to publish plenty in this in this platform, but I have been connected, and I have from the very beginning. So that is a very important thing. And now, this is one contribution that I would like to highlight here, that has come just now in the very last edition that has been published in the Harnessing Nature in the run-up to the World Conservation Congress. So here we have written an article about the role of forests, trees, and agriculture in the South Asian region. So this article, and in fact, this was a theme that on which we had a panel discussion in the WCC itself, and Dr. Karki has been leading us there, and I'm very thankful for his excellent leadership. And so in this article, what we have highlighted how South Asia can contribute shoulder to shoulder with the rest of the world. While different geographies are talking about net zero commitment, where do we stand? How we could contribute in a manner so that the poorest of the poor, our farmers, the people who are vulnerable, they get it also helps them. A lot of farmers, they commit suicide, and in India due to the climate related extreme events, etc. So we were discussing about how to change, how to bring some changes in the farming practices so that there are they develop resilience in their systems altogether. Then also after this, I would also like to highlight one of the, this is not a platform to talk about what has been written in this, but this is a, here I would like to highlight what is the key issue with the Harnessing Nature. In Harnessing Nature, what I have realized from my association from the very beginning that it is a bottom-up approach. It is not, and so all the members in the CEM community, especially from the South Asia, we all are connected via various groups that are there. And so we interact very closely, and these interactions are often moderated by Dr. Karki and Dr. Shalini. And during these interactions, we get to know who is doing what. And then I think the ideas about the papers emerge, ideas about what could go in the next issue of the Harnessing Nature. Such ideas come, and that is very democratic in nature. I think this is, so the whole process is bottom-up driven, and that is, I think, one of the very important and key strengths of this Harnessing Nature. And I'm very happy to see that this will be going like further in terms of expansion, etc., and outreach. So, and so in terms of, my primary interest in Harnessing Nature is, I would like to highlight the climate change related policy discussions in South Asian domain. Can you go back to the previous slide? So here you can see that there are key questions in the climate change domain. For example, what is that we could do? What is that? Like one question is that even though South Asia is not so much responsible for the emissions that have been made, so South Asia is not so much responsible for the climate change that has already occurred. However, we still need to think how best we can contribute, how best we can shoulder our responsibility in bringing the temperatures to effective limits. So like and then it is also a very important question in the South Asian region that what the world community is doing, because if whether or not we are able to control climate change, whether or not we are able to limit warming below 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrades, this will mean a lot. For example, right now we are seeing that extreme weather events are happening in Kerala, in Nepal, in Uttarakhand, in various parts of the country. So actually, even though we may not have contributed to climate change, we are really very vulnerable. We have to think about the resilience. We have to think about adaptation. We have high population. So there are very important questions that are there in the climate change space. The time is very less, so I would stop here, but I would like to take some of those questions in this platform and contribute. And now the COP26 meeting is going on. I think we need to have a very good analysis of what has actually come out. This is this COP26, especially, we all are looking at it with great hope. Previously, like I have written an article about the Katowice meeting. That was a disaster. And we have expressed that feeling of ours in the Harnessing Nature. I think what happens in COP26 at Glasgow, we all are looking at very intently, and we would like to bring some flavor of that again in the coming issues of the magazine. So I stop here and request Shalini to take forward the discourse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv, for a very insightful discussion and your points that are very relevant to upcoming COP. And I'm sure we will be really happy to have your other upcoming opinion pieces from Glasgow COP and other climate discussions that are relevant to South Asia and beyond. I thank you for your participation on a very short notice. And with this, I move to the next panelist for this discussion. We have Dr. Indradev Bhatt, who is a government, who is a senior scientist in government organization, G.V. Pant Institute of Himalayan Environment, and he is also contributor and chapter author to IPCC upcoming reports, and very happy that he is also a CEM member and a very avid contributor to our web blogs as well as our magazine. I welcome you, sir, and I look forward like how this platform has helped your outreach and sharing the experiences from Indian Himalayan region to the broader IUCN community, as well as beyond our CEM networks. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shalini, for giving me this opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. Madhav. It is a pleasure to see you after a long time. Maybe in 2005 we met in Delhi. So thank you so much, and thank you all the organizers for organizing such an important event. And I will start with the Mahatma Gandhi quote, where he said that nature has given enough and enough for our need, but not enough for man's greed. This implies that if we sustainably use our natural resources, we need not to worry. In this context, this magazine can play a vital role through collecting information on the various natural resources, various issues on natural resources, and gives suggestions, recommendations for mitigation, adaptation mechanism for their conservation and management. And also the magazine through various article that highlighting the best practices which can help to diverse group of stakeholders to implement these practices throughout the Southeast Asian region. In my opinion, this is an innovative approach. Next please. This is an innovative approach which can be used to address basically nutritional security, that previous one, which can address basically the nutrition security, food security, basically health benefit, agriculture sustainability, livelihood opportunity, and it can also maintain the ecosystem health. You can promote the nature-based enterprises, food, health, income, etc. Through collecting all these, reading all the articles, all the success stories, and this is the case of wild edibles, which recently published in the Harnessing Nature magazine, where we can see that these wild edibles are used in the various products. If you see the value and demand that is increased basically exponentially, that is used in the functional food, nutraceutical, pharmaceuticals, cosmeceuticals, you see. And if you see that more than 25% of the world's population, that including 60 million indigenous ethnic people, they all are dependent on the forest, and those resources we can get from the forest. If you look in the Himalayan regions, we have over 675 wild edible species. So this type of information we can get from this magazine, and those resources, those products we can harness for the betterment of the mountain people. And for that basically we need to how we can that promote those resources, how can utilize those resources sustainably. So we need to develop we need to organize some of the green skill building programs, which we can which we can use those resources for promoting those resources. We can involve diverse group of stakeholders, and particularly for the younger generation, so that they can connect with the nature. Next please. And I think harnessing nature is an ideal platform for sharing our knowledge, sharing our thoughts, or sharing our individual and institutional thoughts for sustainable utilization of natural resources. It can disseminate knowledge on nature and natural system. It can enhance basically understanding about mountains and raise awareness for ecosystem and its services. It can sensitize people about fragile mountain ecosystem to promote participation in protection, restoration, and resource management. And finally, it can stimulate young minds to pursue research on natural resource management and conservation. So finally, I can say that this is one of the best initiatives, and for that, thanks to whole the editorial team of this magazine. Thank you so much. Over to you, Shalini.
Thank you so much, sir, for very insightful details in a very small span of time. What I could see from your the details that you have presented: co-creation, awareness generation, gender, more opportunities to all genders, and then restoration. Thank you for highlighting restoration in one of the most area that is more sensitive to disasters and climate risk. So I think you have rightly captured most of the things, and I'm happy that through you, we are able to highlight some of the important issues of some of the remotest areas of the country. Thank you for your presence and your insights. Now I move to the next presenter for today, one of the important panelist for today is Ms. Anushri, and she is an RM and Sustainable Development Specialist. She's also a Shivning Fellow and IUCN CEM member. She was previously with IUCN India office. And good thing is that IUCN's flagship project on Bond Challenge, she has extensively worked on that, and she brings in some great experience and insights from pan-India exposure and experience that she has. So without wasting much time, I invite her to share her experiences with the magazine and how successful she has been by sharing her experiences on restoration and FLR in India and beyond. Over to you. Mute me, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here, and I would like to thank especially the CEM chairs, also the editors of Harnessing Nature for this opportunity today to be part of this webinar. I have had the privilege to actually contribute several articles on topics such as the Bond Challenge Pledge, forest landscape restoration, ecosystem and biodiversity conservation, etc., to various issues of Harnessing Nature magazine. Is quite close to my heart. And a couple of recent issues that I had contributed to. One was the special WCC issue that came out this year, where I contributed an article on beyond net gain and net zero, holistic conservation of ecosystems and biodiversity, which I thought was quite relevant, especially now that we are talking about post-2020 global biodiversity framework. Another article that I especially wanted to highlight and that Dr. Shalini has mentioned is on the work that I've done on Bond Challenge in forest landscape restoration. This was published in the 2020 special issue that came out for International Day of Forests. And it talked about Bond Challenge and forest landscape restoration, FLR in India, the present status and the future strategies. Now, I especially would like to take a couple of minutes to just talk about this, because what we realized while working on this project is that Bond Challenge is something that even though it was launched in 2011, and it is actually a voluntary pledge to bring into restoration 350 million hectares of degraded and deforested land into restoration by the year 2030. And so anyone can make it. This is a pledge that can be made by countries, by governments, by NGOs, by private sector companies. And India at Paris COP in 2015 had actually made one of the largest pledges across the world. Government of India pledged to bring 21 million hectares of degraded and deforested land into restoration by the year 2030. And we even in 2019, IUCN, with IUCN support, the Government of India launched the first progress report towards the Bond Challenge pledge, which was actually the first such report from any country in the world. And it's now being used as a template, even by IUCN Secretariat and by other countries, and has been showcased at various COPs. So in the particular article, I brought, I wrote about what Bond Challenge is, because we realized that a lot of people may not have heard about it as much as the UN conventions, even though Bond Challenge contributes to all these conventions, and talked about forest landscape restoration and talked about where India is presently towards meeting this target, but also what needs to happen for India to actually meet that very ambitious target of bringing 21 million hectares into restoration by the year 2030. If I could have the next slide, please. So for me, Harnessing Nature blog and magazine has proved to be quite an invaluable knowledge platform. I've realized that South Asia, all our South Asian countries are connected through the immense richness and diversity of ecosystems, landscapes, and biodiversity that all our countries have. And Harnessing Nature blog and magazine has been, and can continue to be that unique and invaluable knowledge platform to showcase success stories, opportunities, and challenges, and not just across South Asia, but for success, for showcasing the success stories to the world. Thanks to some of these articles that were published, mine in Harnessing Nature, I had interesting dialogue and interesting connections with other colleagues who are facing similar issues in countries such as Brazil, Costa Rica, who reached out, and there was interesting dialogue that happened there. And this especially made me realize that there is so much that can, that we can learn about the work that our colleagues are doing in the region and showcase this work to the world. Another thing that I feel that can happen is that Harnessing Nature can actually continue to be an important platform to share the progress, the various opportunities, challenges, and best practices on the various national, international conventions and country commitments that we have, such as the UNCBD, the UNFCCC, the UNCCD, the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as Bond Challenge. Because in a regional consultation on Bond Challenge and forest landscape restoration that was hosted by the Government of India and carried out with IUCN support in 2017, we had participation from both government and non-government partners from India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. And it was discussed that the time to make pledges is probably, we continue to do that, but we need to move on to implementation. We need to move on to capturing the best practices, what has worked, but also what has not worked. And one of the primary things that everybody at that regional consultation said is that there is a need for a knowledge platform, a forum to have these discussions, to have these exchange of success stories and opportunities. And I strongly feel that Harnessing Nature has provided me the opportunity to know more about what is happening in the region. And it can continue to be this very important platform that can support South Asia and continue to showcase the work that is happening here. So thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this webinar. And I look forward to be associated with Harnessing Nature in the future as well. Over to Dr. Shalini. Thank you.
Thank you, Anushri. I'm sure your experience, pan-India experience, and also experience with other intergovernmental bodies and platforms is a huge support to our magazine, and your insights are very relevant, especially with reference to restoration, climate change. And we hope that we'll be having these important opinion pieces for our forthcoming issues as well. And you have already mentioned this. So I thank you for your presence on a very short notice once again. And I move to the next presenter and panelist for today. We have with us Mr. Ratul Saha, and Ratul has recently joined IUCN CEM. Nevertheless, he has been one of the important contributors to our magazine, and he has shared some important insights from his vast experience of working in coastal and marine areas, and now recently in a different responsibility as a senior consultant with Ernst & Young LLP. So I am really interested and eager to hear the experiences that Ratul has to share with Harnessing Nature. Over to you, Ratul.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shalini, and greetings from Kolkata to all the IUCN CEM chairs, experts, practitioners, and academicians on this platform. And being a festive season, and this greetings is very important from this side of the India. At the very onset, I want to just explicitly say that, stakeholders are constantly challenged when it comes to using the knowledge to influence, to do any management for an ecosystem. And for an informed stakeholder, the analysis is required to carry out to develop a state of knowledge platform for supporting a community of practice on the best practices of NRM. The key insights on institutional, technical, participatory aspects of collective NRM interventions and the efforts are really required to be in one place for a stakeholder to be informed and influence any decision. So I see IUCN CEM as that knowledge product or a platform, and these 8 thematic areas or the subjects that are there, which facilitates the entire IUCN CEM group. And while you actually see the areas or the topics that emanates out from this IUCN CEM portfolio, you get influence, and you climb the ladder in your area of work, to have a win-win situation and over development and conservation. But at the end of the day, who are all working at the space, we are confronted with these 2 aspects, development and conservation. So thank you. Next slide, please, Shalini. Yes. So this photograph that you see, so I take you to the site where I was there last month, and also it's related to the contribution in the recent Congress. The geometrical shapes that you see are basically the agricultural fields, and the interesting part, that's half taken out and half still standing. Next slide. So what are these? So these are the pachyderms or the elephants. They had their dinner last night. So this is a picture of last night, basically. And today evening they will be back to have their food. So this is a community initiative that is being practiced in the Assam, where they have actually left 33 acres of land. Next slide, Shalini, please. Yeah, on the left-hand side, you see the land that is about 33 acres that have been given by that Karbi Anglong community in return for the interventions by the department and the civil society who are practicing there. So, I will not get into the institutional mechanism and how it is. I just will focus on the next slide. Next slide, please. So, at the cost of what? So, at the cost of this of nature-based solution. Again, I'm not explaining the NPS, but if you see this, all this that the government agencies are doing in Assam or in other parts of India are just more or less similar to this, to manage a conflict, to contribute to the sustainable development goals. And they have been successfully doing it in achieving the low-hanging fruits. I was also doing the same for the last over a decade, for last 11 years in Sundarbans. I was doing the same, and the conflict in Sundarbans is like the management and the way the people have changed over, since 2001 is enormous. Yes, there are conflicts, but the change that has been in the last 1 or 2 decades is phenomenal. So what next? So are we all the government agencies or an expert, should we be limited our interventions to this diagram? So we need to sustain the growing demands of the market. Next slide. See, my point is that I want to say, the department or any agency or a practitioner, we should plan for transformational programs in sector development, which includes agribusiness, livelihoods, entrepreneurship development, micro, small, medium enterprises, capacity building, having institutional strengthening, and the entire investments should go into all these aspects. And somewhere all these aspects are also there in bits and pieces in the IUCN thematic areas, which actually influences me and other experts all around the world. So in this slide, I would be just focusing what made me change my portfolio as a conservationist to now I'm a management consultant, is to just climb the ladder and understand what next can be done to take it from those conservation needs and having a development aspects incorporated in a sustainable way. So this value chains, you see the value chains, they are the engines of growth. It can give your salary for workers, a return on the assets, a better food supply, a net impact on the environment. Yes, it can be positive or negative. We should be kind of seeing that very closely. But at the end of the day, is this value added sets. It sets in motion 3 growth loops. One, the investment loop driven by reinvested profits and savings. Multiplier loop that driven by spending on increased water income, and a progress loop driven by public expenditure on the societal and environmental natural environments. And this slide is all, as I said, is one of the reasons I shifted from WWF India to a management consultant organization, the one of the big four in India. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Shalini.
Thank you so much, Ratul, for sharing this very practical example of climate adaptation and agriculture related example that might be a win-win situation for different stakeholder groups. And I'm happy that you shared this experience that is going to be a good experience to be read by, shared by, and learned by many other IUCN CEM members and beyond. So thank you for participating and sharing this experience. And I must mention that Ratul has been has recently joined, but he has been sharing some very relevant examples on agriculture resilience. And now this very important example that actually address a lot of issues and also especially addresses man-animal conflict in many parts of, that's very common in many parts of the country and other parts of South Asia as well. I thank you once again. And with this, I move to the last panelist, but a very important panelist for this session, Ms. Indradev Bhatt. Indradev has been a good supporting managing editor since the very beginning and since the inception of this weblog and magazine. Very happy to also congratulate Indradev because she has recently got this one important fellowship by Government of India. And she has been also instrumental in bringing some of the very initial bulletins of harnessing nature, and still she is writing and contributing and reviewing and editing a lot of our upcoming and on the volumes that are already published. So I'll invite this young professional who has been really playing a very important role in our harnessing nature knowledge product to share her experiences and her insights. Over to you, Indradev. Please mute myself.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm blessed and grateful to this platform to be here. It has been a pleasure to be part of IUCN CEM South Asia, and I'd like to share the perspective of a student growing into a wannabe professional in the field of sustainability as this magazine also grew. I joined IUCN CEM South Asia when I was a master's student in Forest Research Institute, Dehradun in India. And as I learned about CEM and went to become part of it, I will share my experience as a student who received a very good platform for learning, networking, and mentorships from so many knowledgeable persons in the group. The magazine issues gave me an opportunity to express my learnings from field as well as learn from the different studies presented in the magazines and learn also many new tools. The IUCN CEM South Asia group as a networking team is so phenomenal that I have learned leaps and bounds from this network than anywhere else. I will always vouch that it is the mentorship I have received here has made me who I am today. And through these, I would like to state here and encourage other young professionals to be part of IUCN CEM South Asia and learn what holistic ecosystem approach means. Coming from a forestry background and working at wetlands like Sundarbans, I was working in a diverse landscape, but working with the experts, young professionals who have guided me and other young professionals present in the group. Like I have received mentorship in many ways from Shalini ma'am, Deepu sir, Madhav sir, and many more here in this platform. And it has given me an edge over many others of my peer group to learn and experience nature in a much different way than I would have if it was not present. So I would love to encourage everyone from to be part of IUCN CEM South Asia if they're from South Asia, and be part of IUCN CEM if they're from any different part of the world, and the different other commissions as well. But this commission is pretty active and gives ample opportunity to grow and learn and utilize them. And as ma'am rightly said, I have been a researcher for past 2 years as working as a junior research fellow in Jadavpur University on Sundarbans. And it was working with this IUCN team and working for this publications and reading and writing, which made me think, how can I be part of that implementation process, which my predecessors in today's event has also been saying. And hence I applied for one of such skill development and entrepreneurship development fellowship in India. And I represented the same vision that I shared just now with there also, and got selected in Mahatma Gandhi National Fellowship. And I believe my vision has been shaped in a way for a better resilient future for not only India, but in a global view, because I was part of this group. And I have been actively encouraged to write, edit, and contribute, even when as a researcher, I was well frustrated and questioned my mentors a lot. So this is a space where I could question, I could express, I could write, and I could learn and grow. And I would love to encourage every young student, learner, professional to be part of such dynamic groups to learn and grow together. And I am grateful to Dr. Shalini ma'am, to Dr. Madhav sir, to Deepu sir, and every member of this team to make this such a conducive place, conducive space to express and grow together. Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much, Indrala, for sharing the experience as a young professional, and also how harnessing nature has helped you shape up the way you write and express yourself. And I think I take it as an acknowledgement and as appreciation for the entire team of South Asia CEM network. And I think this was the last panelist for this important CEM dialogue. With this, we are at the end of this dialogue, and I thank everyone. But before I thank everyone, I would request Dr. Madhav Karki to briefly summarize what we have discussed so far and what are the key takeaway points that can help us to take them as key messages out of this dialogue, and that can help us to strengthen our activities with reference to harnessing nature and weblog. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shalini, and thank you, panelists, for this rich exchange of knowledge and highlighting the experience you all have in producing and also in disseminating Harnessing Nature magazine. First of all, I would like to actually congratulate all of you who have put in so much time and done so much hard work in producing these wonderful knowledge products that has become actually CEM's flagship knowledge product. I'm sure what Dr. Deepu has shared, that the readership of HN has reached many countries. And this is a very proud moment for all of us. This pride is because of your hard work. So first of all, huge congratulations. What I have heard makes me fully convinced that HN has a very good future. What speakers have said makes me also very happy. What I had actually dreamed that HN will contribute to the vision of CEM with its rich diversity of knowledge, diverse knowledge system, and also relevant information for both policy and practitioners. I think that is already very clear from what you have said. I was struck what Anusri was saying, that what we are producing is relevant for global initiatives such as Bond Challenge. So I think the other thing what I have heard and makes me very pleased is that this is a very useful knowledge platform. It is actually a knowledge hub for all the CEM members to come together, to meet, to exchange, and to learn. I think we have started a pioneer, I would say, knowledge exchange platform, and I hope that this can be emulated by other regional groups. I feel that while HN has achieved, I would say, most of its objectives, we should not be, I would say, complacent. We should actually be aware that world is changing very fast, as Dr. Rajiv was saying, that the COP, which will start in a week's time, COP26, is going to discuss how nature can help us solve global challenges like climate change, pandemic, and then hunger, then disaster, which you can see in the Himalayas right now. So harnessing nature, I would say, while we all should congratulate ourselves, and I feel very proud that I'm with you, such a wonderful group of people. We have further miles to go. The world is facing actually very huge challenge. We are in several emergencies: climate emergencies, health emergencies, and hunger emergencies. So, and disaster emergencies. So, we need to explore how ecosystem-based approaches and NBS, nature-based solutions, can be kind of guide for our policymakers and managers, land managers, resource managers to actually address the challenges. And I'm sure our authors are already thinking how they will do it, and I would like to wish them good luck. I will not take a lot of time now. We are almost on. We have completed our given time. I would like to thank actually many people, specifically Dr. Shalini, who has taken a lead in conceiving this idea and bringing all of it together and producing this excellent, invaluable knowledge product. I would also like to thank Dr. Deepu and all the production team for your hard work and continuously producing the blog and then the magazine issue. And I hope that we will keep this momentum and produce more of these wonderful issues. And I would also like to thank Mariana, who has helped us really given us the platform so that we could all come together, and through her to our chair, Dr. Angela Andrade, for giving really inspiring us and giving guidance. And finally, I again thank all the participants. You have been. I saw a question why RLE and NBS have not been included as a part of ecosystem-based approaches. Of course, I mentioned about NBS, nature-based solution, is the latest, more I would say, comprehensive topic tool which have been provided by CEM and then IUCN, of course, the program. But RLE is also a tool, but it helps us, red list the ecosystem that are endangered, threatened, or in danger of collapsing. But I think once it is identified, then again we have to use the ecosystem-based approaches. So I would say RLE is also important, ecosystem-based tool, but we need to combine several tools to achieve our goal, and hopefully harnessing nature will bring this factor, this packaging in our next issue. So with that, thank you very much, and I wish you all good evening. Thank you.